Appreciate you guys tuning in this week here on Chasing Birdies. We're back for a new episode, second one of 2025, second one in 2 weeks. My man JP, what's shaking, baby?
What is going on?
You're in sunny Florida, I take it, huh?
Well, it's not really sunny right now. I'm in Orlando, Florida. PGA show starts here next week. I will not be there. I'm here for our jewelry show to kick off the year. But it's good to see you again, bud.
Yeah, you know.
Two times in 2 weeks.
I made a joke to you and BK that it's been a while since y'all have been in Florida. But actually, you were there last week, too. So what the hell?
Funny enough.
Life's good, bud.
Today's episode is brought to you by Red Vanley. Make sure you go to redvanley.com. Check them out. Fresh new colors coming out in those shorts. Get that waistband, pulling a little bit. New polos, new hoodies. It's all going to be up over the next few weeks, so make sure you stay tuned on that. And Red Vanley is sponsoring the Chasing Birdies 2-man, which is happening July 27th to 29th at Nemacolin.
Maybe I should get a pair of the Red Vanley golf shoes I saw in that 2025 book.
Yeah, bud. I mean,
my shoes aren't golf.
Your shoes are pickleball shoes.
They're still good, though.
I think that you would not like those shoes in the north. I think you walking Pelican with pickleball shoes
keeps it real.
Yeah, but I don't think that in hills that would necessarily work out.
So one thing that we actually got right on this show, maybe of all time, was this past weekend witnessing the Steelers get thrashed by the Ravens. And we called that here on the show, which was not fun to watch. But the point to that is this weekend we're headed into a great weekend of sports. I mean, we got games going on Saturday, national championship here with Ohio State, Notre Dame. I mean, it's been a hell of a season, man. And I'll tell you this right now. I don't think anybody's beating the Lions. I
like the Lions. I do. I also, though, man, I like those Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, but I'm just saying from the standpoint of my man Dan Campbell just has brass, whatever, and he just has these plays, very aggressive, the way they've played all year, headed into this weekend, divisional round, coming off a bye. And that's the way football should be played. You watch some of them teams play last weekend, It's like, that's the way football should be played.
What, Derrick Henry, man, is a man. He's a dog.
He is.
I mean, that guy just does what he wants. And then on the college football side of things, we got Ohio State versus Notre Dame for the national championship. I mean, I was actually thinking about this the other day. Imagine if you're an Ohio State fan.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go to 4 bowl games to watch my team play.
No, you're right.
So that's a little out of control. And how about Carson Beck going to the University of Miami? His NIL deal, you know what his NIL deal was?
What is it?
$4 million. You know what George Pickens' contract for 4 years is in the NFL?
What is it?
3.1.
Wow.
For 4 years. So you can't tell me that this NIL stuff's not getting out of control. Carson Beck went from declaring for the NFL draft to probably realizing, hey, if I go to another school for 1 year, I'll make more money there in 1 year than I will in 2 or 3 years.
Rookie contract. So, Yep. Well said.
Got to end it. Got to end the NIL, I believe, or at least get some kind of control on it.
That's a bold statement. I don't know.
You're making more money than professional athletes.
Yeah. I hear you. And I'm sure some of these golfers, man, are getting paid too.
Yeah.
Which
wonder what I would have made it.
But golf's one thing where it's like, when you're playing quarterback for a team, naturally the whole team matters. You're part of that team. When you're playing golf, you're on a squad, but at the end of the day, you still want to go out and shoot 65, whether you're playing in California or Florida. So it's a little different, but that's a different topic of conversation. But today we do have a guest here on Chasing Birdies. Nathalie Sheehan joins us. to talk a lot about golf and a lot about what she's into in golf. She teaches out at Pelican Golf Club down outside of Clearwater, Florida. And we had a chance to catch up with her a couple weeks ago, and she accepted the invitation to come here on a show. And fabulous little interview, man. I mean, and going back to what we had talked about in the past with women in sports, specifically golf, it's just really something that's needed to grow the game, and she's exemplified that.
Well, I mean, for women too, there's so much opportunity in the game of golf as far as, you know, in business, and it can help you out in business so much when you play this great sport. So I think that Natalie's going to help out with that. She's got an incredible resume as is, and I'm sure it's only going to get better over the next few years. But Pelican is a great place for her to be, and I mean, the facilities they have are out of this world, and the golf course, and the people, and the restaurant, everything. So without further ado, I think that we should go listen to Nathalie talk, and not so much us.
Yep. You guys enjoy this one. All right, you guys out there tuning in here on Chasing Birdies. We got a good one today. I'm really stoked for this one. A young and upcoming female teacher in the golf world. She's going to give me and Pep a few pointers here on the show, actually. Nathalie Sheehan, you might have seen her on Golf Pass on Golf Channel, joins us here on Chasing Birdies. So, Nathalie, thanks so much for carving out some time today and joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm loving the Pelican hat rep.
Yeah. Absolutely had to do it. I was on a flight today with Mr. Brandon Katzeff on the way down to Orlando for a jewelry show. And I know you guys have a big event here next week in the PGA show.
That's right. Yeah, down in Orlando as well.
So you'll be headed to that?
Yes, I am speaking at the Teaching and Coaching Summit, which happens prior to the show. So that's Sunday, Monday. And then Tuesday, there's the huge demo day where they do it at the Round Orange County National Driving Range. Yeah. Which is really cool. And then the actual show in the convention center is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
And that's where everybody gets to try the new goods that are coming out this year. It is really cool. I've done it a few times in the past. It's just, I have to say, the actual show, Ryan, I don't think you've ever been there.
I haven't.
The actual show is very overwhelming. There's a million booths. There's a million people with clothes and golf tees and golf shoes, everything that you can think of that you've never even heard of, they have, and it's really cool.
Even like when you walk around, there's all of these like Asian brands, because we forget it's easy to be in our like little bubble of, you know, U.S. golf, but like golf is so expansive. So there's all these brands from, you know, Asia and all these other countries who have all sorts of different crazy products, from, you know, workout stuff to like little technology and, like you said, clothes. I mean, it's literally everything you could possibly imagine.
I think the apparel, some aspect of it like interests me for sure, but at the same time, I feel like it would be so hard to break into. I mean, how many different types of material is there in the world that you can make a shirt that says, "Hey, you're not going to sweat on a hot summer day"?
Yeah, yeah. It's also, the margins are super tight on clothing stuff, but yeah, no, it's crazy. I can't imagine.
But yeah, I've never been. We've actually thought about going, but I have no interest. But, you know, I know a lot of people that do go, and they say it's a great time. You get to see everything and whatnot, meet up with people.
It's a fun networking opportunity, like really good way to, I mean, everybody's there. So it's a nice way to meet up with people for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So golf, man, you found golf at a young age. You know, I was doing some browsing, a little bit of research, and, you know, so was that something that you had in your family blood, or was it something you just picked up on your own?
So my dad actually played ice hockey in college, and I'm the oldest of three girls. So I always joke that I'm the son he never had, because I was not allowed to figure skate, even though I really wanted figure skates when I was little. We lived on a pond, and so it would freeze over and he would like shovel it off, and we had hockey nets. So I learned how to skate on hockey skates when I was like 3. And played golf. He loved golf kind of toward the end of college. And then I just also kind of became obsessed, but I don't look like an ice hockey player, but I played ice hockey all the way through high school as well.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was, you know, my dad played a lot of sports and we did as well.
Hockey. We've talked to so many people who played hockey and golf, and it's
hand in hand.
Yeah, to a degree.
Well,
It kind of is. It goes a little,
definitely a lot of hockey play. I mean, a lot of former athletes find their way to golf. Obviously, I think, over the years, having worked with some of them, we have a lot in the Tampa Bay area who are former athletes from all different sports. And I think that they love it so much because they just can't quite figure it out. These are people who have been so unbelievably successful in their own respective sports. And then they get closer to retirement maybe and start playing golf and they can't figure it out. And they are just so locked in and obsessed, because those are the people that I find that practice the most and are so obsessed with trying to get better. And it's sort of interesting that golf's what everyone comes to.
Well, I think for a lot of people too, like you talk to these professional athletes that are the best at what they do, right? A hockey player, a football player. And if you tell them, hey, this par 3, number 9, for example, at Pelican is 130 yards and you have to get it 3 shots to make a par. A lot of them are like, 3 shots, that's all I need to do to get to there. And it's like they don't realize how hard it actually is once you get those wheels rolling. And it's so funny because it frustrates these athletes and celebrities so much because, again, they're so good at hockey, and in their mind, they should automatically be good at golf.
100%. And even people that are, successful, obviously in golf, you have a lot of people, especially at a place like Pelican, who run companies and have been really incredibly successful in their own lives, business-wise. Same thing. They just, it's something else that they want to work toward and they want to try and figure out. And you can never really perfect it. So
never.
And Patty Marin's still trying to do that. So.
Speaking of Pelican, I tell you what, that is a gem. That is like a hidden gem. Now, granted, they had the Annika there, which we'll get into a little bit, so it kind of gets some publicity a little bit. But the first time playing it, he and I last year with BK, we were like ambassadors for him to try to join. We're like, dude, this is your spot.
This is the place.
Like, it's close to where you live. It's meticulous.
Yeah.
Great hang. The comfort stations are out of this world. Like, it's just a good spot to be at.
Yeah, it's a great place to play golf. That's for sure.
And for you, I mean, I didn't get to really see kind of over past the range a little bit, but I saw like there were some indoor, outdoor hitting bays, which might be popular in Florida or just at good golf courses in general. But I mean, it's got to be a great place for you to kind of hang your hat and do what you got to do.
Yeah, we have state-of-the-art facilities, which is amazing. My husband, Justin, who I'm sure you guys met when you were down one of the times, is the COO of Pelican, but he was a huge part of when the club was being built. So the Doyle family bought it in 2017. It was an existing public golf course called the Bellevue Biltmore. And it's an old Donald Ross course, actually, that Bo Welling redesigned. So Bo does a lot of work with Tiger on his courses. And so it reopened in 2019, but Justin was a huge part of the project and the golf course redesign and all of the buildings being built. So Justin basically designed the learning center. And as a former, he still teaches some, but he was full-time teaching prior to being at Pelican. He had the knowledge to build a really amazing learning center.
State-of-the-art,
So we've got Sam Putt Lab in our putting studio, as well as a Zen green, so you can adjust and make all different types of putts. We've got Putt View that does the projection, so you could set the green to, let's say, a 3% slope right to left, and then you can make the Putt View shows you exactly the line that you need to putt on. So that's an amazing thing to have. We've got an upstairs hitting bay that has TrackMan Simulator in it, so if it's hot, cold, we get both in Tampa Bay. You can head up there and hang out. If you're hanging out on property with some friends for the weekend, you can grab some drinks and go hang out up there and play Pebble Beach on the simulator if you want to. And then downstairs, we've got True Spec has one hitting bay, so they do all of the club fitting, premier club fitter in Tampa Bay. And then we have the teaching bay next door, which is primarily where I teach out of. We've got Gears, which does 3D capture. We have Swing Catalyst, which is a pressure plate. And then we have TrackMan, so kind of does all of the things.
Isn't that, I mean, that's impressive, just the amount of technology that goes into golf these days. And it hasn't like just happened, but it just keeps evolving. But when you look back on golf, like even 25 years ago, like none of this shit existed. Nothing.
No, which also makes you appreciate, I don't know how nerdy you guys are on golf instruction, but the guys who are really legendary, you look at like a Butch Harmon, Hank Haney, like those guys were just really good at seeing everything because they didn't have what we have now.
Drawing the lines and everything else.
Yeah, there's a lot of people now who maybe aren't great teachers, but they can dissect the information based on what someone's doing on TrackMan pretty easily, which, 30 or 40 years ago, they didn't have that. So those guys were just exceptional at what they did.
No, my dad had the Ledbetter book sitting on the coffee table when I was growing up. And like you'd come home from golf and you'd open a Ledbetter book up to see kind of like, I was hitting it right a little bit. So what's Ledbetter say, And that's what it was.
Right.
It was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So, even when Justin worked for Jim McLean, he was Jim's assistant down in Miami when he was really young, and another legendary coach and teacher who has trained a lot of fantastic teachers, but same thing, like just so good at seeing all of that stuff that I think kind of the modern teachers maybe aren't as great at because we have all this technology and even just being able to whip out your phone and take a video of somebody in slow motion, Well,
I even for example, today, this is a little off topic, but I had to renew my passport and I was able just to take my photo on my phone, my passport.
They let you do that?
Which that insane, you think about the technology, like what you're saying with the golf swing, I didn't have to go to the DMV to get a picture of my face. I just did it in my car. It's crazy how much technology has evolved in everything that we do. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it is amazing and still is.
So with your teaching, by the way, congratulations. I saw that you are 2025, 2026 Golf Digest top teachers, rising teachers for the year.
Yeah.
So kudos to you. I mean, that's big.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
But you obviously have a passion for that. And I know that you kind of were involved in playing a little bit, but what kind of happened within your career there where you wanted to kind of take this pivotal shift and get into the realm you're in right now?
So I played Division I golf in college at University of Delaware, and originally I wanted to work in fashion, and I thought I was going to move to New York City and do that. And quickly realized that was not for me after a couple of years I started out as a fashion merchandising major there. I switched to art history, something that I just really enjoy and am passionate about, and really focused in on golf. Had a great junior and senior year playing. Decided I was going to go to Q school and try and play. But in the meantime, I had worked for my coach growing up and did just women's clinics and kids camps during the summer, and really fell in love with teaching and sharing the game. And especially with women and kids, it is so much fun to, and men too, but people who are newer to the game, it's really so rewarding to share that with people and get them started. So that definitely set a spark. And then after I went to Q school once, again, realized that was not for me. Didn't want to be on the road. Don't think that I was really a talented enough player, honestly. I'm a respectable golf pro. I think I can still play to a pretty high standard, but those girls are just
they're so good.
Insane.
And Justin and I talk about too, you're going to go out to Q school. Well, whose spot on tour are you taking? Right? Who are you better than? And I just wasn't there. So came back from there. That was in the summer of maybe 2017, like 1 year after I graduated, and just decided, hey, I'm going to really dig into teaching. I was doing some of the social media stuff already kind of before that became as popular as it is now. And the club that I was working at in Philadelphia was super supportive of everything I was doing. And so I just dug into teaching, and Philly was a great spot to be in with a lot of amazing other golf pros and courses. So kind of took off from there.
Where you were at in Philly is one of my all-time favorite places, in the Philly Cricket Club. I love that place.
Me too.
That place is incredible. Can't say the name of the course.
Wissahick.
Yeah. But I love it.
Great golf course. And even cooler is the 9-hole course. I don't know if you've ever been to the 9-hole course, which is the original. It's the in-town club in Chestnut Hill, but that was the original golf course. And there's only 9 holes existing left, but they sold the other half off, I think, during like the Great Depression or something. But it's the original golf course where they had, I'm going to say this wrong now that I'm on a podcast, but the U.S. Open, they had a major there a long, long time ago. But it's really cool. They have a hickory tournament. They're like the world hickory championship.
That's awesome.
There every year. So they actually have like it's a square sandbox with it's what they use for hickory golf. They have that on the
That's cool.
course.
Yeah.
Really neat.
That's at Philly Cricket Club?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No way. Yeah, we must have missed that one, but
Yeah, if you guys are back in Philly, you should go. That's a true hidden gem, is that little 9-hole course.
We'll have to hit that up. Maybe when we go back to Marion. That was supposed to happen 2 years ago.
Yeah,
So
there you go. That would be a good trip.
well, you broke your ankle this year, bud. So
I did. Two things that you mentioned that I want to bring up. Number one, getting children involved in the game of golf. I always went to Pine Needles golf camp growing up, and we were very close to Peggy Kirkbell, and she taught me how to play golf. And it's just like what you're saying is to get kids involved in this game that's so great. It's awesome to see. My son's 7 years old, and he's getting involved, and he's starting to take a liking to it. And to see their face when they do something well it's awesome. So, and to be able to handle them when the parents aren't around is fantastic for you as well. And then to another point that you made is how hard Q school is. We just had a guy on that has shot 64 under par last year in PGA Tour Monday Q school or Monday qualifiers. Okay.
Yeah.
64 under par total, and he did not make one event.
Yeah, that's like that Monday Q account. I'm sure you guys follow that, where he posts all that stats from that. I mean, it is unbelievable. And the men's game, the women are incredibly talented, and the level of play has improved significantly, I think, on the LPGA Tour. The men's side is next level. I mean,
it's insane.
I'm just amazed at the amount of guys who can go out and do what you said, who can go out and shoot 63, 64, whatever on a Monday qualifier. Not all of those guys could hold up for, a whole week on tour back to back, but there are far more guys, it seems like, who can throw up those low numbers in a qualifier for sure.
It's just, it is. It's absolutely kind of perplexing to think about it.
Yeah.
When you hear a story like that, guy can't get in, shoot 64 under in Q school, on Monday Qs. And you look at what Hideki shot in Hawaii.
34 under or something.
Is that good?
In second, like, how much more, how much better can they get? How much better can you get as a golfer?
Well, and I know
Annika thought she could birdie all 18 holes.
And this is not, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and this is the big debate in golf right now, but I think the only way they're going to be able to control this, how good these players are and how far they're hitting it, is the golf ball.
I wasn't going to say that, but I agree.
Some capacity, they have to be able to control the golf ball. Now, I don't know if you have a golf ball that's only for the PGA Tour players to where, it scales them back a little bit because you want people to get involved in our side of it, right? So you have the normal golf ball that people can hit it as far as they want it, because in reality, you're not going to hit it as far as they are. But I think that is the one answer to the PGA Tour, is scaling that ball back, because that's the deciding factor in all of this. I agree. The equipment also plays a huge role, and I don't think they're ever going to do anything about that, just because I think that's a lawsuit waiting to happen with all these equipment companies. Obviously, that's how they make money, but trying to sell us on everyone hitting it 10 yards longer every year. But the ball, I think if you made it spin more so that it's harder to hit it straight between the equipment and the golf ball now, like the guys, they have such an easy time hitting it straight. You do not have to shape shots. I mean, it's so much easier than it used to be. So make it spin more so that they don't have as much control over direction. It makes the guys who are the better ball strikers really stand out. Makes it harder in tougher conditions maybe, but I don't know that. I've looked at so many of the articles and the studies they've done on rolling the ball back, and I don't really know distance-wise that it would actually affect those guys that much. Maybe 15 to 20 yards. That's not changing things in a crazy way for them.
I guess, and this might be dumb to look at it from this angle, but I don't disagree with what either of you said. I mean, they've been talking about this golf ball rollback for a while now, but on the other side of it is and this, I'm not asking, I don't want to say this is a rhetorical question, but what is the issue with them continuing on this path of now we have someone shooting 40 under? We have someone shooting 38 under. What is the issue with them? You know, I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that it shouldn't matter. Definitely, but what's the opposite side of this whole story?
I think that the golf purists just traditionally want the amazing golf courses, you know, an Augusta, an Old Course, like these places that are just icons of our game to withstand the test of time. And there's something, again, these, you know, the golf purists really don't want low scores being shot. I would tell you that even at Pelican, if the scores are too low, in a couple of the different years past, like we want to make the greens faster, or we want to do something different to not have someone winning at 30 under par. So I don't know if it's a pride thing from the golf course itself, or I don't know, but I think there's something to that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and you look at what Oakmont's doing this year, Bash, in our backyard, with the U.S. Open coming up. That's all I hear all the members from there talking about is it's going to be the hardest U.S. Open in history. And it's like every U.S. Open stuff has said that in the last 20 years. And you're not any different. They're just that good.
Yeah.
And you can speed the greens up. You might lose a couple shots here and there, but in reality, you can make it par 5. You know, number 12 at Oakmont's probably 660 or 650 now with the tees moved back or whatever it is. They're going to hit it in 2, dude.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think for those guys, you don't necessarily have to make it a million yards longer, you know, and add all these, everyone's always adding new tee boxes and doing all these things to these golf courses, right? But, you know, if you grow the rough up and you make the greens really firm and fast, look at like when the U.S. Open was at Shinnecock. Remember when Phil stopped his ball from rolling off the green? I mean,
yeah,
they can make it hard enough without it being another 500, 600 yards.
Yep.
So
we had, speaking of U.S. Open, we had DeChambeau's caddy on after he won the U.S. Open last year.
That's pretty cool.
And so he's telling us about, I forget what I asked him. I asked him something about Sunday round or something. Or I asked him if he thought about not hitting driver, because remember he's blown it everywhere. And he said no, he never once thought that. But the issue was that he was changed heads before the round, and the head that was on the driver was actually
it was a 5 degree. He uses a 6 degree head, and it was a 5 degree, and they had no clue.
And they had no idea. It was
I'm
1
sure
degree
he
locked
wouldn't have
on.
measured that. He's so particular about that stuff.
Crazy.
I know.
They said they went through. He went through 4 heads on the range, and he hit, I think, 3 balls with each head, and then finally the one head that he was watching on TrackMan was right. He just put it in. At the end of the round, they realized it was a 5 degree head.
That is crazy. However, I did not like Bryson very much, and it had nothing to do with the LIV versus PGA Tour thing. I just sort of thought he was like a little annoying for a while. When he won, and I know some people had the opposite reaction, I became so obsessed with him, and he's just so entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, give me more people like that on tour, even on the women's side of the game. Like, I want to see more personality, and, you know, he doesn't have to be on YouTube and doing all this stuff. And I mean, how entertaining is he?
Well,
Yeah,
I think too, I think I said this before on a podcast, is that felt like, all right, the PGA Tour and LIV, watching Bryson in that US Open, it felt like, all right, PGA Tour and LIV are coming together, and he's the guy that's making this happen. Because it didn't matter if you were a LIV, PGA Tour fan, whatever you are, everyone was going nuts for that guy. Mm-hmm. And it was fun to watch.
Totally.
I mean, it was so fun to watch that guy in that event.
And then the whole like after effect, you know, some people were like, oh, he's being fake, you know, him with Johnson hitting that shot, like, and then he's, you know, going in the neighborhood and having everyone hold the trophy, like the whole,
awesome.
Yeah. More of that. That's what golf needs.
Yeah. 100%. You're right. I mean, he does it right. And I think a lot of people probably would agree with what you just said. I mean, I think he probably rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, maybe early on. But after seeing him open up a little bit and start being the guy, being the face of the crowd and wanting to interact with people and fans and showing love, it's like, hey man, you got my stamp of approval all day long.
Yeah, 100%. And even if it is fake, I don't care. He's good at it.
It's a great actor.
Well, I have to ask you a question because you were the only one out of these three have played in a LPGA Tour event or PGA Tour event. Getting into the Annika at Pelican, what was that whole week like for you? I mean, like you said earlier in the podcast, you tried the Q school thing. You got to a point where you're hey, I'm going to go get a job, and now you get to live a childhood dream in a week. What was that whole thing like for you?
Yeah, that was so cool. That was my first year living in Tampa. And so through our PGA section, so we have tournaments as just golf pros, people who work in the golf industry. If you're a member of the PGA of America, we have different tournaments that you can play in, and you play for money. So we're pros. But obviously, again, it's on a smaller scale because it's all people who are actually working. And I had a great year, and I won our section championship and qualified. So I got a spot it was at the time the Pelican Women's Championship. So that was prior to us partnering with Annika and Gainbridge.
Okay.
And that was the first year of the event. So we didn't have spectators because it was during COVID. Members were allowed to attend. But yeah, it was, like you said, living out a childhood dream. I'm beyond happy that I got to experience that and can say that I played in that LPGA Tour event. But really funny story, my husband, Justin, who, like I said, it runs Pelican. We met because I took lessons from him. So he coaches some tour players, and is my, I would say, unofficial coach. But, prior to the week starting, he says to me, if you know Justin, has a very dry sense of humor. He says to me, whatever you do, don't shoot 85. I don't know why this was what he said to me. Super inspiring, right? So I'm feeling really prepared.
Way to get him driven, right?
With one of the girls that he teaches, Brittany Altamare, who's an incredible player, incredibly accomplished. And we were playing a practice round, and I hit it so well. I was playing amazing. And I holed out a shot on, I don't know if you guys remember the fourth hole. It's just kind of like that long straightaway par 4, but I had hybrid, and I literally holed out for eagle. I'm like,
that's his favorite hole.
Okay. I'm like, whose favorite hole?
Me.
Ryan.
Actually, or are you being sarcastic?
No, he birdied it. We've played it 3 times or 4 times. He's birdied it 3 of the 4 times.
That's pretty good.
I like that
That
hole.
green can be tricky.
But anyways, go ahead.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So you make eagle on 4.
Eagle. We're having a great practice round. Things are going well. And then, day of comes. And I was nervous, obviously, but it's hard to anticipate how your nerves are going to manifest in that situation. I've played at a high level many times and many different events, but this was definitely different. People are all standing around the tee, and you're playing with other tour players. And I felt like a little out of place because I'm like, oh, I'm just, a golf pro here bothering you. But anyway, so I stand up. I was very nervous, but it ended up being that I had no feel around the greens. I was hitting it fine. I felt like I couldn't feel my hands when I got to, if I had to hit a chip shot or a putt. So it was atrocious. I mean, I could not do anything right around the greens that day. And I shot 85. So that was
wow.
Back to the original comment.
So what did Justin say to you when you shot that?
I remember walking off. I was obviously very unhappy. And so I remember walking off the 18th green there. And he's like, oh, 6, what'd you shoot? And I said, 85. And he's like, literally looked at me. I think he might have even been and walked away. But anyway, I redeemed myself day 2. I did not make the cut, obviously, after shooting 85 day 1, but redeemed myself day 2. I think I shot even or 1 over par the second day.
It's awesome.
Wow, that's playing.
Yeah. So I can play golf. It's in there somewhere, but I think
but it's so difficult.
It's so hard. And having, these experiences and playing and trying to, maintain your own game as a coach really does help you empathize with people that you're teaching, because, you might not be teaching even a college player, but someone who's going to go play in a match play thing at their club or their club championship, they feel the same way that I felt doing that. And so I'm better equipped to help them manage that mentally than other coaches might be.
Well, it's funny. Everyone's friends do this. How can that guy shoot 82 in a major?
No, you don't understand.
You shoot 90 whenever there's nobody around. You will not break 110.
No. When Dustin Johnson was number 1 in the world, remember he shot 80? I don't remember where he shot 80, but he shot 80.
It's so
and he's the
difficult.
best player in the world. I mean, it happens.
Well, and that's the part of golf that's like you can sit there and give someone drills. You could have them feel certain ways, which more than likely, these guys are going out and playing for fun, playing a little Nassau. But you get in a little bit of a tournament, a competition where the ball has to hit the bottom of the cup, and every stroke counts. It's a different type of game.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden we're not scraping 8-foot putts.
No, and I know all about that because I'm still an avid amateur enthusiast. Like I love signing up for shit and playing whatever I can play.
I think that's amazing.
I just like the competitive nature of it. I love it. And but it doesn't matter how many times you play in something where it counts. When you get on that first tee box, you got the nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of nerves.
Yeah.
And then I know what you're saying on the putts. Sometimes you have that feel, but whenever that counts,
it feels that much better.
Yeah.
Or you don't have any feeling at all.
Well, anytime you're like leveling up your game, I remember even playing junior golf, going from playing in local tournaments to playing in an AJGA, or going from playing in AJGA to playing in a college event. You're just a little more nervous until you get used to it and kind of figure out how to manage your nerves. But that is so important, I think, for people to learn. It's a learned skill to manage your emotions and manage your nerves on the golf course, just like it is learning how to hit a chip shot or hit a bunker shot. You have to practice and kind of figure out what your feel is and what works for you.
I will say though, and Pep always says this to me whenever we're playing, like just free it up, Don't think about it. Don't change what you've done to got you to this point. Keep doing what you've done. And I think if you can grasp that concept, it does kind of make sense because I played in a Live Pro-Am at the Greenbrier a couple years ago. I played with Peter Uline and then Scotty Vincent on the back nine, but I was the most nervous I've ever been playing in a golf event. And teeing off on number 1 at the Old White.
And you paid them to play.
And I paid to play. But I'll tell you this much. I played great. And the reality is I was just swinging free. It was like, I was with these guys, but at the end of the day, they didn't care how my golf swing looked or whatever. But, when you can conceptualize that free feeling, it does. But that's the mental aspect.
Well, Bob Bertell is a good friend of mine, my family's. And that's what he always says. When you're watching a PGA Tour event and you're seeing a player try to win for the first time, or in a major, they're trying to win their first major, watch how much their routine changes on 15 to 18. And you didn't read the putt from behind the hole that got you to this point. Now all of a sudden you're reading it from behind the hole. Because it's no more important than the first putt on day one.
No.
But we make it more important, and that's the thing as a player you have to understand is that the next shot's the most important. It does and stick to your routine. Those PGA Tour players, they have their routines timed perfectly, 40 seconds, whatever it is. I mean, that's an
underrated part of tour players' games for sure. Like you said, I mean, if you timed their routines, it might be different from putting to chipping to full swing, but It is. If it's 20 seconds, it's always 20 seconds. They do the exact same rehearsal every single time. They're visualizing or saying the same thing to themselves in their head every time, whether that's picturing the target, saying the target to themselves in their head, picturing their shot shape like a shot tracer. There's so many different tips and tricks that everybody can try out, but those players are better at using their skill because they are better at the mental side of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's why Tiger Woods, how mentally strong that guy was, is insane.
Ridiculous.
To be able to, all the off golf course stuff that he, whatever, we won't get into that, but doing all that stuff and being able to come on the golf course and be the best he was is absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. his dad obviously played a huge role in his character in that manner. But, I think that teaching even kids when they're younger to start to picture what's going on with their shots, it can be really simple little stuff. Like for example, with kids, we'll use like hula hoops. Can you chip the ball into the hula hoop and get it from the hula hoop, right? So giving them kind of a better imagery for then when they get older, they have a better picture in their head of what they're trying to accomplish. And because I really believe visualization is so important. But, you hear all the stories about Tiger and his dad's, dropping stuff in his backswing. And I'm sure there's other stories we haven't heard, but he certainly was the toughest of them all.
For you as a teacher, what's the one part of the game that you enjoy most with your students?
It's hard to say. I do really like teaching putting because I think it's kind of not touched on enough, and most people wouldn't consider taking a putting lesson unless they have the yips or something crazy. But that is short game stuff is by far the fastest way that you can drop your score. Like once you can hit the ball forward, figure out how to get it in the hole faster from 50 yards and in. And if you can be better at that, I guarantee you your handicap will go down. So I think that's the most rewarding from working with someone who actually wants to get better. Some people just take lessons because something to do, fun to go practice once a week, and they don't really work that hard at it. But the people who actually want to get better, the short game stuff is a big deal.
Well, if you look at these practice rounds that all these PGA Tour players, that all the people that are listening that go to a PGA Tour event, watch how much more time they spend around the green than anywhere else on the golf course.
Yeah.
They're dropping 2-3 balls in a bunker or pitch shots. A lot of those PGA Tour players or LPGA Tour players or Korn Ferry Tour players play the golf course from the green backwards.
Exactly.
So it's interesting. Like you said, I mean, your 10 handicapper could drop down to a 7 if they really focused on their putting.
Yeah. And then even strategically, like you're saying, for a practice round, I've caddied for my sister a lot, who played at University of Florida and has played at an incredibly high level, caddied for her twice at Augusta. And
wow.
Yeah. And she, I've learned a lot from just caddying for her as well. Even more so than my own game, just because you see it in a different way when you're caddying versus playing. But the other thing that people don't consider is you need to figure out where the best place to miss is around a green. So at your home course, even think strategically, like, where's the easiest short game shot from around this green? And then maybe when we're selecting our shot, our club, whatever it is, into the green, making sure that, and it's not negative to say, if I miss, I want to miss here, right? We're not saying like, oh, I don't want to hit it in the water. We're going to say long left is the easiest chip shot here. So if anything, maybe I'm going to take a little extra club and air on the left side of the green. Right. Those are also little things that can save people's shots. And that's where you see those guys on tour and girls on tour hitting a lot of those practice shots from, are the spots that are the good miss.
Good miss.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that. When I played in college, I called Dr. Rotella and I said, Doc, how do these PGA Tour players hit your 50-yard bunker shots? Like, I'm struggling with this. And he said, it's really easy, Jonathan. He said, it's called course management. He said, they don't hit it there.
Right.
And I said, oh, okay. Okay. Which he's right. I mean, you think about that. Everybody, that is the hardest shot in golf, is your 50-yard bunker shot. And you never see a PGA Tour player have to hit one because they're either hitting it short or over it. It's back to your managing the golf course.
Yeah, and you can even get really specific. Scott Fawcett, who created Decade Golf, you can get really, really into the weeds in terms of being very strategic at a high level. But forget what tour player I was talking to about this. Might have been someone on Live. I don't remember, but was talking to either a coach or a caddy, and I think it was Jason Bale, who coaches Peter Uihlein, actually. And he was talking about how when they go to an event, they use that and they can figure out, based on the width of the fairway, whether or not he should hit driver because of the dispersion pattern of his driver. So again, like at a really high level, you can get super specific on how to best manage the golf course, even with stuff like that.
So caddying in Augusta for your sister. So your sister played at the University of Florida. Is she still there, or
Graduated last spring, so she's playing mini tour stuff now.
what's it like to caddy for your sister? How cool is that? Caddy for your sister at Augusta. I'm assuming is it called the Azalea tournament?
The Augusta Women's Amateur, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done my whole life. And sharing that with her was ridiculous. The first year, because they do the first 2 rounds at Champions Retreat, which is like half-hour away from Augusta. And then there's a cut. So there's 2 rounds, a cut. Then everybody, whether you made the cut or not, gets to play a practice round on Friday at Augusta. And then the final round is Saturday. So there's a practice round in the middle of the tournament, which is kind of unique. But first year, she did not make the cut. She missed by 1. This past year, she made the cut. And she was in contention on Saturday. She was, I think, 3 under on the round through 8 holes at Augusta, which just like the whole experience of showing up there. I got to go you go in the caddy room. I got the white jumpsuit. They fit me for my white jumpsuit. Like, so cool. And then she and I were both so like overwhelmed and nervous and excited on the range. I mean, it's literally like being at Augusta on Sunday. Like, you get to use the players range, and she and I were like so amped up. We went and sat. They have these little like tables under an overhang on the range, and so we kind of just like went over and sat and tried to like soak it all in for a second.
That's so cool.
And then walking over, to the first tee through the building there and seeing they had all of the women who are members at Augusta in their green jackets sitting on the tee, like right behind the tee. All these people are there, just as many, honestly, as at the Masters. Her name up on the little slide board. Like, it was so cool. And she kept saying to me, she's like, what if I top it off the tee? And I'm like, it's going to be fine. If you top it, we're just going to go hit it again. Nothing's going to happen. No one's going to kill you. Like, I'm still going to love you. It's all going to be good.
It's all good.
Yeah. And it was great. And she really played very well. She kind of had the hooks with her driver going into the week. And so that manifested starting on the 9th hole. She was playing great again, in contention. I think she was tied for second through 8 holes on Saturday, and then hooked one in the trees, left on 9, which is just dead, made double, and then made kind of a silly double on 11. But it was still just like the most magical day. We had so much fun.
And then that's the week before the Masters, correct? Like, it's like leading into the Monday of the Masters.
Saturday, drive, chip, and putts on Sunday, and then that's Masters week.
Shoot.
Yeah.
That'd be, what an experience that is.
Yeah, that was wild. Learned so much and had just seriously the most amazing time.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I've every time I play with somebody that's played there, because I've never played there, I always ask them what's one thing about the place that they thought differently after being on it as opposed to before. And some people, Patty Maroon said 16 is not downhill, but
I think he's confused.
I don't know what
confused.
Yeah, because he went
it's
there.
A par
he
3,
went there.
bud. Like, wake up.
Maybe he meant 15.
I
Is
think he
15
meant
not as
15.
downhill?
He must have meant 15, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he had too many high noons in that conversation.
Yeah, maybe.
Patty was.
That sounds about right for him.
Because Pep and I froze for a second, and we're thinking of 16, and we're like,
wait a minute.
wait. So I say, oh, so it's level, and he goes, yeah, it's level. But meanwhile, I'm like, I didn't think it was ever downhill.
What hole
So he
was
must
he
have
talking about? What?
I think he had to have meant 15 because
What even 15?
that's the only
15
approach shot coming down the stretch. I mean, you've been there. That would be the only one that I would think that's downhill. 16's level, 17's a little uphill, if anything, and 18's uphill.
Everything's uphill, yeah, other than 15.
So he's lost. Other than that, he's lost.
That's okay. Well, but I think the most shocking thing is if you haven't been on the property before, the undulation there you can't see on TV. I mean, it is the elevation change on some of those holes is crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we went a couple times to go watch, and that was the first time that I actually stepped foot on property. That was the one thing that, it's very undulated. It's very hilly.
Yeah, and there is such a premium there on hitting the ball in the right part of the green. If you don't have control over your golf ball there, I'm good luck to you.
Done. Hey, I want to ask you, because I know we're kind of running here, but so with Golf Pass, you work with the Golf Channel. You got your own kind of network thing. People, what is it? People could subscribe to you on Golf Pass, and you kind of give playing lessons, or how's that work?
Yeah, so Golf Pass is just a yearly subscription that anybody can have. It gives you access to making tee times at different golf courses, and then it has a whole library of content on there from a wide array of coaches that have worked with them over time. So lots of different amazing coaches, but you can go on and watch all the video content. I think it's like $99 for the year.
That's not bad.
So there's lots of cool perks with that. And then some of the stuff is on Peacock as well, on the app that you can go on your TV. And then some of that content they've now pulled to Golf Channel. So somehow I lucked out and a lot of my stuff is on Golf Channel now, which was not originally supposed to be the case, but that's been kind of neat to get more of it out there. But I just film with them a couple times a year, and I've got my own show with them now, and
that's awesome.
And quite an adventure. So
do you think we'll ever see you, and maybe you've already done this, like on the course, walking around, interviewing people, or, doing play-by-play, like Dottie Pepper's out there. Now it's going to be Nathalie Sheehan.
I actually did do kind of a walk and talk with Tom Abbott from Golf Channel at our event this year at Pelican, and really enjoyed that. It was fun, and it was easy chatting back and forth with him, so that was great. One thing I am interested in doing, last year I went to Valhalla for the PGA Championship, which was cool for a number of reasons, mainly also because that was when Scotty got arrested in that whole ordeal. But I worked with ESPN, and I actually did instruction during the coverage on their featured groups. So if you were watching ESPN Plus, it has like all the different little screens up, and in between shots or in between holes, I would pop in and do a drill, describe a shot the guys were going to hit a shot, talk about how someone at home might learn from or relate to what they were doing. So I'm hoping to do more of that going forward, because I think that's a kind of fun and engaging way to make the broadcast a little more interesting and relate to people at home. So maybe not necessarily commentating, but hoping to do something like that.
No, that's cool. I just was curious because, like I said, I saw you kind of were linked up with them and whatnot, and just didn't know how that was going to shape up in the future. So
we'll see.
We do have to finish the show here with our standard tap-in segment, Nathalie, which is presented by Bettinardi Golf. Check them out online at bettinardi.com. Pep's going to ask you a few questions that demand your quick response here, and we'll take it away from there.
All right. Least favorite club and why?
3-wood. I always have hated it. I have pictures of topping it in my head still from when I was younger.
It's a tough one, I guess.
All right. Music or no music on the course?
No music.
I know Pelican, no music.
No music. But you can at Pelican, but no music for me.
All right.
That's
I like
fair.
that. All right, dream foursome, dead or alive?
I gotta be politically correct. I could pick some good ones here. I've been lucky enough to play with some people that are really cool, but I'm trying to think. I would love to play golf with Butch Harmon, or just hang out with him. I don't even know if he really plays golf anymore. I really should know this like off the top of my head, but a president would be cool to play with. Any president. My husband got to play with Trump, which was really cool. I'm jealous.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who would my other one be? This is bad. I got to think about this more. I should have this like rattled to be rattled off.
That's a tough one. We can admit you can have a threesome.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
President Butch Harmon and you pegging it up.
Let's go.
All right, last one. What are you chasing?
Just to create more golfers. That's what I'm after. My kind of passion for this year, my thing I'm moving towards is getting more women who are in business to play golf so that they have more opportunity in whatever they're doing in their corporate life.
I love that.
Love that.
And that's it, man. We got to keep growing the game, and that's partly what we're trying to do too. So, but Nathalie, it was awesome having you on, girl. We really appreciate you carving out some time.
Hopefully next time you guys are at Pelican, we can tee it up.
Yeah, let's do it for sure. Yeah, we'll definitely get it in. And you have a, continue on your path this year, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Fantastic interview. Thank you, Nathalie, for coming on. We appreciate it. Can't wait to see you at Pelican. Maybe you can take a look at our swings on the range next time, because we all need some help with that.
Yeah, no, it was awesome having you on, and we do appreciate it. Very good episode here on Chasing Birdies, I must say. It's funny about golf. I was thinking about just what I do, what you do whenever we're practicing. I know I practice more than you, but it's all about feels, and like there's no wrong answer, in golf. It's like if you create this drill that gives you this feeling of where you need to be at impact or on the top of your backswing or something, like if it works for you, then it's not wrong. And I think that's cool. I don't know. I don't know any other sport where it's like that. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, you're completely right. I also like what she brought up, which was it's very interesting. I never really thought of it until she mentioned it. Was how good your Butch Harmons, your Ledbetters of the world really are, because they didn't necessarily have that technology that all these teachers nowadays have, and they kind of had to know where that positioning was without drawing it and lines, this, that, and the other. So that is a good point that she made. Now that you look back on it, it's just changed everything. And like putting, she really enjoys teaching the short game, and I think more people need to kind of drink the Kool-Aid in that, because that is where you're going to save strokes. But for me, putting is like art. There is a specific speed and line on every putt that will put the ball in the hole. There's no two ways about it. You just got to find that speed and that line. But every putt can go in the hole. Correct.
And and that's the big thing that I think for me specifically, I like to really, I believe that it's like there's a pathway here. It's like driving to your house, but I just get on the road. It's going to get me there.
Well, and I feel like, the strong suit of your game is generally putting. Do you feel like you've gotten away from that a little bit over the last couple of years? And I'm just on the outside looking in. But do you feel like part of that's because you don't practice that part of it as much?
Yeah, I think the last couple two seasons specifically, I've kind of gone through the change with the putters. Really putting the Bettinardi in, which I love, and getting acclimated to that. I putted very well with my Scotty back for years, and I had great success with that Bettinardi. And fast forward now, I got the new Bettinardi that I've been using. So I don't think so much it's about me in terms of my how I approach it. It's just a matter of me now looking at a couple different things and feeling confident with certain putts, because at the end of the day, that's what you got to think. You got to think this putt's going in. You got to stroke it. You got to have confidence in that. And I think that's where a little bit of my fall off has happened. But but I still like it.
But like Nathalie said, that is where you can make up a lot of shots in the round of golf.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like I said, you watch these PGA Tour practice rounds, everybody from Pittsburgh going to the U.S. Open. Watch how much time these guys spend on the greens opposed to hitting tee shots, hitting approach shots.
Yep.
They're getting a feel for the greens. Yep. They're spending 20 minutes, 25 minutes around that green, hitting different pitch shots, hitting bunker shots, bump and runs, whatever, getting creative. It's because that's the most important part of the game.
Yeah.
But I get it. You can hit it 350. That's fine. That's great.
Right.
Can you get up and down from, 20 yards?
No. You got to get that thing in there. Oh.
So, without further ado, I'm going to probably see you this Saturday, bud.
Well, in other news, this week we celebrated the birth of our dear friend Brandon Katzeff on this past Monday, the 13th. Mr. Katzeff turned 40, and so naturally we celebrate. We celebrated in November. We celebrated a couple weeks ago. You'll celebrate tonight. We're going to celebrate Saturday. So hopefully he remembers this time in his life when he turned 40, because I know I will. And it's been great. I love it. So happy birthday, BK. I hope your couple days into 40 is treating you all right. And,
BK, happy birthday, buddy. We love you. You're the best.
The best.
Yeah, I feel like I've been celebrating. It's been November.
It's all
early
good.
November, actually. Back to Napa. But we'll keep it rolling into this Saturday.
Yeah, we'll catch you up at the peak at Nemacolin, which, by the way, in the event you people out there are looking for a little pick-me-up over this winter season, especially if you're local, make sure you check on over to Nemacolin Resort in Farmington, Pennsylvania, where pretty much anything you want is there. Check them out online at nemacolin.com. Check out Gusto, the new Italian restaurant. Maybe roll down a nightcap for a little burlesque or a little jazz session down there. And naturally, in the summer months, the golf courses are awesome. So nemacolin.com for all your needs. Check them out, and maybe we'll see you up there. But
would love that.
For all the loyal Chasing Birdies fans out there this will be coming up on our 5th season in March. 4th year, 5th season. We are now elevating ourselves a little bit. So you'll no longer just be listening to us. You'll be able to watch all these episodes on our YouTube channel in the near future. Probably give us a couple months, but in the works right now to elevate our production set here, which is going to bring you a better listening perspective, and frankly, it's going to be more fun for us to do these shows. And maybe we won't even do shows. Maybe it'll be breaking news, what have you. So stay tuned for that, and if you really want to. And that's pretty much all I got in terms of the announcements, Pep.
I love it, man. I love it. It was like listening to my school principal. Mr. Peppy, report to the office. Here we go again. But everything you said, I second. So have yourself a great next week and a half until you have to listen to us again. Chasing_birdies. Tap it, like it, follow. As Ryan said, we've got a lot of cool things coming up. You're going to be able to watch a little bit more, maybe some quick hitters. And, we are about a month and a half away from the first event of the year at the Pine Needles Invitational, which, good job getting in, bud.
Ooh, I was sweating.
I mean, I had to pay Blair to get Neil Walker and Eric Tangradi in, so.
Oh, shoot. Well, I look forward to that, bud. And you guys out there, make sure you check us out here on Chasing_Birdies and give Nathalie Sheehan a follow on Instagram. She puts up a lot of great content. Her handle's Natty Golf. So make sure you check her out as well. And you guys, enjoy your weekend. Have a blessed and happy weekend. And as always, we will catch y'all in 2.
Ciao.